I'm Rajat. I'm a co-founder of USTRAA.com.
I want to know your origin story. Like where did
Yeah.
you grow up? Was there like a entrepreneurial spirit in you in your childhood itself, or like how did you how did you discover that you wanted to be an entrepreneur? What was the path to becoming an entrepreneur? I want to
Okay.
understand that a bit.
Okay. Okay. I was born in Srinagar, Kashmir, and I had a study almost a perfect childhood. It's a very beautiful place, very nice, and natural beauty all around you. So you grew up among trees and in the best possible conditions one would want to grow up in. So I had a very I was born in 1975. So it was a long time ago.
And
Yeah,
you're
but
like
so
a Kashmiri Pandit, or
no, actually, I'm a Punjabi. I'm a Dogri, actually. Dogri is people from Jammu, but my grandfather settled in Kashmir a long time ago. So we were citizens of the valley, as I say, like we were state subjects. So, but now when I'm living in Delhi now, and I have a son growing up, and now I realize that we guys had such a perfect childhood, because when you're growing up, you need a lot of place to run, you need trees to climb, and you need fruits to pluck and eat, and then everybody knows you. So it's a very safe environment. Everybody knows you, and you could cycle. Yeah, so it was like that. Uh, I don't know that time if there was any entrepreneurship bug in me, but then things changed radically. Sometime in 80, 89, 90, when things in the valley started getting deteriorating the conditions, so we all had to move out. And when we moved out, it was a difficult time, because you lost everything. One day you had a full house, and the next day you didn't have anything. So we moved to Dehradun and then to Delhi. And that time, actually, only the only thing that in my mind, and I have two sisters, so we were just to finish our education and somehow help our dad in whatever way we can. He had to sort of reestablish his business.
was it
So
like a trading business, retailing? What was it?
yeah, so he had an interesting, he was running an interesting gift shop in Srinagar called Cash and Carry. So it is quite a light little novelty shop. And then he had a crockery business, which was not very big. He had inherited it from his father, but he wasn't very keen in business. He was more like, and now as I see, he was more an artist. He was into photography. He liked to, good poetry and stuff like that. So he was not really, his heart was not into this business. And then the situation came when we had to leave everything, and he had to set up all over again. And Delhi is very, very competitive in terms of Delhi business, even retail, it is very competitive. People want razors and margins. So that time, we had difficult times. So our only intention was, I was that time in class, I came in 10th, 10th, 11th, 12th. So idea was to do college, possibly do an MBA, and then take up a good job so that, things at home stabilize. That was, I joined DU. I was in Venkateshwara College, BCom honors. So good fun, 3 years. Really enjoyed college. Then, like everybody else, that time was preparing. So I took CAT exams. I was interested in advertising. So I was very sure I wanted to do advertising. I thought I had that sort of creative spark. And I used to win a lot of these college festival events, and all. Used to win a lot with a gang. So I was very sure that I wanted to do advertising, and then I read about Mica, and it seemed like the perfect place for advertising. Got into Mica. Was in Mica for like 2 years. That's where I met Rahul, who's my co-founder and the partner. We both started together. Then joined advertising, and then in 2 years got bored.
Okay.
Sitting
You were
through-
like you realize it's not creative work, but it's account servicing.
Yeah, it's account servicing, account management, and the thing is that in Mica, you're taught like strategy and campaign and campaign management. A classic MBA thing. Now you think you are going to come and run the business. So no, but I also felt that time that advertising was slowly dying. The best days of advertising were over, or were almost getting over. So it was becoming very.
When was
It
this?
wasn't good
When
work. I was in Mudra. I was in Mudra, Delhi. So I joined college in 93, passed out in 96, joined Mica in 96, passed out in 98. Then I was in Mudra, Delhi. It was a very good agency, doing very well. Very good creators. So yeah, it was good fun. It was an excellent learning experience because servicing teaches you everything. Servicing teaches basically you to give up your ego and just work. Do you have advertising background?
No, I don't. No, I.
So,
But I have been like a small entrepreneur most of
Acha.
my life. So,
Okay.
yeah, that essentially my work is also a lot of it around servicing.
Yeah, so it's essentially so I read this very interesting. I was reading the book by Alec Paramsey long time ago, and it said the biggest industry in India is follow up, which is so cool because that's what you're doing all the time. You know, you're only following up with people. And so when I was advertising and we realized that look, I told Rahul earlier, we're not handling the brand. You know, we are just handling one part of the brand. So somehow we should get involved and become brand custodians and set up our own, because it's not हमको तो सब आता है. We have learned everything. Nobody can teach us anything. So that was the time, when the first sort of .com boom was starting, 2000, early 2000, 2001, 2002. There were these e-Gurukul and there was lots of stuff was happening. So we said, both Rahul and me were not, zero knowledge about computers, no idea about internet, no idea about technology. So let's work for an IT company and get an understanding, because that's where the future is. So we joined a company in Hyderabad, which was into touchscreen solutions. Quite interesting. It was run by this, by a very interesting, genius person who's a doctor by profession, but his entire thing was to make things easier in terms of technology. So he developed that touchscreen based solutions. So you could just. This is very interesting because that time there were no touchscreens in India. There were no touchscreens at all.
I remember the first time I saw a touchscreen was in this Priya cinema. They had some way to, like, for your ticket selecting seats and something like that they had there. Yeah.
So touchscreen, that time I think they had just barely come into ATMs. And here this guy was trying to set up a touchscreen based system. And we had this very nice kiosk where you could, I could touch in. And it was very interesting because his idea was that, look, in India, most of the people are not educated. If you want them to understand, they have to do it through touch. And we like to touch things. So everything was right. But the challenges were that, I installed a kiosk somewhere. Now if I have to update it, because it's not wired, it's not connected. So I have to open the kiosk, I have to put a CD and to rewrite the CD. So it was a good idea, but I thought, where of its time. So the company was interesting. They had got funding from GE that time. Very big amount of money, and then they blew up the entire money in a year, which was quite shocking.
They were like serving businesses, like helping businesses to.
Yeah, so they wanted to do everything. They wanted to do animation. They wanted to put up touchscreen kiosks. So in fact, we put up kiosks even at the Parliament House in Delhi, and there was a lot of inquiry. But the only thing with this kiosk was that maintenance was an issue because you could not update the kiosks because they were not wired. They were not wired. So then this company went broke. So from Hyderabad, we went to the company's office in Bombay. While we were in Hyderabad, both Rahul and me, when we were trying to find accommodation or find a place to live, nobody was giving us the preference because one, we were bachelors, two, we were from the north, and they said, you guys are only going to end up drinking every day, and you were going to so the advice you were getting is, why don't you guys get married? Why don't you settle down? So it was very bizarre. But that was the time when we got this idea that, look, in this country, everything is targeted towards single people. What if we can set up something for unmarried people? That was when we started discussing this idea, and then what this company did was, finally, as it was agreed, we started handling their Delhi operations. But like I said, they blew up all the money, so they suddenly salary stopped coming and there was no money coming. But by that time, Rahul and me were discussing this happily unmarried ideas back and forth. Yaar, ye karenge. So we had sort of become obsessed with that idea, and thought it's a brilliant idea and we should execute it straight away. We had no money at all. The company had not paid us salary for 6 months. So it was just the right setting for somebody to. I mean, ideally, one would have, given up these dreams. And said, let me take up a job, but nahi kiya.
Yeah. At least you would have wanted some working capital with you.
Yeah. So here's what we did. The company had given us at that time, again, I think 2000, even laptops were not they were difficult to access. So company gave us a very fancy Dell laptop. We mortgaged it. We gave it to somebody and said, "Look, give us some money. We have to clear some salaries, etc." Because there was a law that time that if an IT company is importing a laptop, they can't sell it to anybody. You could only use it for software development. Whatever. So we said, "You can't sell it, so we'll give it to you as a mortgage. You give us the money," and that became our seed capital. So we started Happily Unmarried. So I always say that, when we started, people who could have quit their good jobs to set up businesses were not called entrepreneurs. They were called idiots. क्योंकि उस time there was no, I'm talking about, you see the IT had a thing going, there was this entire thing about IT way and funding. But if you're not an IT person and you don't know how this system works, what the network is, you had no clue. You think karte hain. So you just like that attitude, and we said, okay, let's start. So we started.
So coming back to our story then. So you got some seed capital. How much was that seed capital?
$50,000. So the idea of Happily Unmarried was to be a one-stop shop for people living on their own. This is the thing we were offering. We were offering them a place on rent. We tied up with brokers to get a place on rent. We were getting them furniture on hire. We were getting them things like curtains, rugs, sofas, everything. And then we realized that, these kids, finally you have some money in your life and you want to do up your homes a little interestingly. So we thought, let's do some quirky merchandise that will go with their homes. You have this independent, you want to have nice bar accessories, So let's do that as a small range. That's how we started. So it was incredible.
You were going to earn through the rent arbitrage.
Rent arbitrage, yeah. That was the model, and then we would get curtains from Panipat and give them curtains, because we realized when you set up a house, most of the guys don't know what they need. So we had these starter kits, which had these 2 utensils, 4 curtains, 1 rug, 1 tomato, stuff like that.
This merchandise was not chargeable. This was just part of the package.
No, you had to buy it. But we had tied up. You get furniture on rent. So we had tied up with a guy and we were giving furniture on rent. We were doing everything we thought we could do. And the response was very encouraging. It was quite good. Except that we couldn't deliver at all. Like for instance, we had tied up with brokers. And he said, yaar, yahan pe ghar dikhana hai. And he said, haan, aap lekar aa jao. When you'd go there would be no house or the broker would not be there. So there was a lot of demand, but we just couldn't manage the supply, because again, there was no database, there was no internet, there was no even furniture.
There were no classifieds for property and all that.
Yeah. So I realized that it had a lot of demand, because everybody was looking for cheap housing, but there was no supply. That was the time when call centers were opening up, and there was this entire excitement about BPO and everything. So there were a lot of young people moving to Delhi or moving cities. But we realized that jab tak you don't control the entire demand. And we didn't do that because we did not have the kind of networks that brokers had. So
that's a startup of its own.
So, and now if you look at it now, that's become a startup of its own. There are companies which are providing accommodation to a single view. There is a company which is providing furniture on hire. So my sense is that the ideas were right, but the timing was way too early.
Plus you were doing too much, I think. These are 3 different startups.
And we were 2 of us. So it was a big team of 2 people. So we were trying to do everything. And besides that, we were getting merchandise made, like quirky ashtrays and stuff. And then we were going to different offices in and around Delhi, where our friends worked, mostly advertising agencies. And casually go and say, hello, we come to say hi. And then we set up these little stall there and try to sell things every day. So this was our routine.
That was like majburi. You had to make money. So
you had to make money, and we realized that kahan becenge. So we said, let's go and meet a friend. And we would also, sometimes go to different offices and use them to, ye dekh, hamara ek courier kar dena, hamara ye kar dena, because, so we were using our friends' networks. Some of them didn't realize that we were doing that as a backup office, and to sell merchandise. So within a year of starting out, we realized that the merchandise piece is the only one which is getting traction, and a lot of word of mouth. So that became the main business. And we realized that we were pretty good at it, so this is like, I think 2003, 2004, we were like, acha, ye बढ़ गया, अब क्या करना चाहिए? We don't have money. Then somebody reached out to us and said that, I'm looking for I think 2003, we're looking for an interesting promotion offer for the World Cup. So if you can think of some good ideas for to go with a packet of Britannia biscuits, 50 paisa price, you can make some money. So he said, this might give us some seed capital to expand. So
Okay, this is like a corporate gifting.
So this over. And this was massive. It was 4 crore. They wanted 4 crore gifts. So we really thought about this and finally came up with this idea that jo kanche hote na kanche, we'll get kanchas printed with caricatures of cricketers, and they will go out with every packet of biscuit. So that was the idea we cracked, and fairly excited. But then we had to find out the entire supply. Where are the kanchas being made? Who's going to make them? How will they get printed? How will they get packed? How will they dispatch? So anyway, it was a very interesting project, and we spent six months, I think, planning, and then 4 months just execution. So 4 months we were only printing marbles. So we printed 40 million marbles, 4 crore marbles. Made some good money. Not good, made decent money, and that became a real estate capital. So we had some money to go. And then, so this was the Britannia Cow World Cup Jao campaign and they had these marbles. Learned a lot about how corporate works, and we started doing a lot of corporate gigs after that, because it got you capital. So we did a lot of work for National Geographic Channel. We've done for HBO, Bacardi.
Branded like a National Geographic brand T-shirt.
So they would come to us for better ideas, not for T-shirt or pen, but some quirky stuff. So we did a lot of interesting stuff for Nat Geo, especially. They had a very good team that time, so we did a lot of work for them. And then one day we decided that Delhi mein to ho nahi raha hai. Let's open something. And again, you have to understand, this is a time when there's no Facebook, there was no internet as such. There's no networks for people to communicate. So we said, okay, which is the coolest place in India? The coolest place in India is Goa. Everybody who's cool goes to Goa, so let's go open a store in Goa. So then both Rahul and me packed our bags and just headed to Goa. And this must be 2000. This was the year when Sehwag made his 300 in Multan. What year was
that? You're asking the wrong person.
So I think it is 2003 or 2004. Because we were seeing the match that time. That's what I remember. So this is like peak summers, and we are in Goa, and we hired a bike, and they're going all around, up and down, asking people, do you have a shop to give on hired, a shop to give in random, in the entire Kalangot, Kandalim, Kandalim belt. So the entire Goa belt is that was very happening that time, Baga. Finally, 3 days we couldn't find anything. So when we went to return the bike to the guy, he said, who are you guys? Why are you here? Because all I saw you doing for 3 days was going up and down the roads. You didn't go to any place. So we told him, we're looking for a shop to start, and we couldn't find anything, so we can bring back. He said, मेरे पास दुकान है ना, मुझसे बोलना था. So this guy had a shop, very nice location. So and the best part was that right on top of the shop was the apartment. So we took both the places, and we started the Happily Unmarried store in Goa, and it was absolutely crazy. We had so much fun. In fact, Rahul relocated to Goa entirely. He said he was based in Goa and I would go back and forth. We had a second-hand Maruti 800, which we drove to Goa. And it was crazy trip. So anyway, so Goa shop actually helped us incredibly, in the sense that a lot of people came to Goa. They would, from Bombay, Bangalore, Delhi, and then they got to know
that SECA1 category.
That is slightly cool people. All cool people. And then we realized that this is something else. A lot of foreigners were buying our stuff. So, we understood that proof of concept is working, products are doing very well, and there's a good feedback on everything. So very, very happy. And Goa was actually very good days.
And how much were you making monthly? Like, were you able to pay yourselves?
Yeah, but the basic salaries, nothing extravagant. But I think about 2-3 lakh रुपए 2-3 lakh रुपए महीने की सेल हो रही थी, which is actually really that time it seemed a lot of money. You know, and then we realized that yeah, ठीक है ये तो अच्छा चल रहा है. So we ran the Goa show for 4-5 years. But beyond a point, like Goa has a limitation. Once
obviously, it's a lifestyle business.
it's a lifestyle business, so
like...
you can't make money out of it. And then here Delhi, so then we moved to came back. I mean, relocated back to Goa and said, no, we have a product range and let's now start approaching shops. So then again, we would go. Confidence was going to the side, yeah, it was going to the side. So वो कर रहे थे. And then by the time Happily Unmarried became a very cool entity, BBC featured us. We were on the cover of Outlook magazine. So it had got a fairly cult following without us having spent any money. And we would get. So the example about 2007, 8, 9, 10, it had become a well-established brand. We had stores in Khan Market, Select City Walk, small kiosks. We were in Bangalore.
Like your own stores,
yeah,
like company operated.
But they were like kiosks, not stores, but I would say kiosks. And fairly good visibility. People knew us. If any good company was doing any kind of gifting, they would give our products because it had the cool badge. And that is 2007-8 is when the Facebook entered our lives. And suddenly one day I set up a page called Happily Unmarried and forgot about it. And then after some couple of months, I checked it. It had about 1 lakh followers. I said, "Arey, that's quite amazing." And then we realized, oh my God, there's a following. Till then, we didn't realize. You often see people, but never realize that such a big following is there. So again, that build up. So like I was saying, Happily Unmarried get popular. So we used to keep getting these invites to speaker events, talk about design. तो वैसे ही एक इनवाइट आया हमारे को इंडिया इंटरनेट डे था and it was supposed to come and make a presentation. So we had no idea.
Which year?
This is 2012 or 2011.
Okay, and by 2011 you were essentially multi-location.
Multi-location retail company supplying to all cool stores. Had a decent product.
So you were also you also had a channel.
Yeah, distribution.
I believe you used to be there in Archie's. I remember buying.
Not Archie's, but a lot of Archie's type stores kept our things. So even Archie's, some of the Archie's guys bought our stuff and sold it, not through the company. But if you like, every city had these really cool stores. Like Pune is either or, Bombay had so we were in all of the stores. But still we knew that there's still not too much money because all these things like inventing and inventory etc. is money. So we got a call to India Internet Day. और तब तक क्या हो रहा था? We were getting invited. We could get so many intern applications because everybody wanted to intern with us. It's cool है ये. हमारी एक basic website थी. So we got an intern application from one student from some fancy Stanford kind of place doing computers. हमने कहा इसको ले लेते हैं. At least she'll be able to fix our website. We had no idea about tech. So then we went to India Internet Day and we were asked to make a presentation. And then we made a very cool, we are this cool company and this. And that time, we had this parent who came to us and said, "Oh, hello, Happily Unmarried. Our daughter's going to intern with you." I said, "Yeah, कितने लोग करते हैं तो ठीक है यार." Then, "Oh, welcome, we're happy." And then he gave me his card. So then I saw the card and said, Sanjeev Bikandani Naukri.com. His name is very familiar. So that girl who wanted to intern was his daughter. And so then he really helped us, when we were there because we were completely lost. So he's a great guy, Sanjeev. So he helped us set up and, connecting us to the people and everything. And then I thanked him and said, "Thank you so much for everything." So he said, "You guys have a great business, but you made a very lousy presentation." Because
why was it lousy?
Because it was we didn't realize it was that time it was almost like a business pitch to investors, and we had no numbers on our website. We had no. We're talking about how we do music in the hills, how we do these cool products, and how we are. So we had no idea what the business pitch is like.
It was all like story elements, but very less
Uh,
numbers, basically.
no numbers, and it wasn't the pitch. They don't realize what the pitch is. So then he said, my daughter's interning with you, and her bet was that I will find a company which my father does not know of to intern with you. So then he had done some back checks on us and he realized that, okay, the company is decent. It may be in a bad place, but it's decent. So wo chalu kiya, met him, and then he said, we have also started investing in companies. So this is about 2012 ke aspas. We have started investing in companies, and you look like a good bet, but you're a great business. Take it online. So we said, okay, we'll take it online. 2012 is when we raised the first round with Sanjeev. 2012, end of 2012. I think. Some of my dates are maybe wrong because I'm very bad with years.
That's fine. That's fine. But
So-
how much were you, like revenue wise, what were you doing by then? 2000, like
we were doing about 5 crores annually. It wasn't a big business, but it was a small business, and it was enough to sustain us. हम लोग की छोटी सी टीम थी, ठीक थे. So Sanjeev said,
for that era, without any funding, 5 crores is extremely good.
so Sanjeev said, look, this is a good business, but now if you want to raise funding, you have to think beyond yourself and think of it like a business, not like a lifestyle. So that was the call we took. यार ठीक है, बहुत मस्ती कर ली, 10 साल से हम लोग bootstrap करके पार्टी कर रहे हैं. Now let's build a business the conventional way. So we raised a round with Sanjeev. Then we raised 5 crores. With Sanjeev Naukri.com, Info Edge invested in the business. We had to pitch to the entire board, met everybody, and got approvals. Finally, paisa aa gaya. Started expanding Happily Unmarried. We got a full house enabled tech team in house. We started building our own website, started website operations. We opened a store at the Delhi Terminal 3 airport, which is a big thing because in terms of visibility and in terms of just being allowed into the airport it shows that you've arrived in some state. Because not everybody gets to open a shop at the airport. So we did that, all that. But as the business was expanding, we realized that we were blocking too much of our cash in inventory. Like if we had 70 t-shirts, for example, t-shirt design, 70 t-shirts into 4 colors, that's 280 into four sizes. So almost 1,000 into the number, into the number. So like that, it was becoming a business which had very, very lot of cash trapped in inventory.
Because you had large number of SKUs,
Yes.
but the numbers per SKU were small.
Because
you were all about uniqueness.
Yes. So number one SKU, so that the constant pressure to create more SKUs, and as you are scaling, some of them there's MOQ. So वो हो रहा था, but then we realized that ये business ऐसे चल नहीं सकता because it's taking too much of your working capital to invest in inventory.
And you were selling online also.
We're selling online. It's small numbers. We had hired
that 5 crore funding, you spent it on building an e-commerce.
Building an e-commerce engine, got some good people. I think we did another, within a year or two, we did one more round of another 6 crores with Sanjeev, with Info Edge. So money came in, but then we realized that there's a solid problem. We're going to enter into because beyond a point you can't grow. If you keep opening stores, that's a lot of capital expense. So आप फंसोगे कहीं ना कहीं.
The unit economics are not.
Even if they did the unit economics, but as you scale in the amount of money you are blocking, suppose you open, like when we had a store at Delhi airport, we had almost 1 crore blocked only as security deposit. That's crazy, right? You're blocking good capital which you could invest. So we realized kuch aur karna padega. Now Happily Unmarried essentially had a lot of male customers. While it had a lot of these bar access. So our most of customers were men. So we said, okay, we understand social media.
What was your average selling price?
About between 300 to 500, I guess. 300, 400. We had short glasses for 199. We had so about around between 300 to 500 was where we were. And doing well. That time the business had reached from 17 crores. I think 17, 20 crores we were making annually.
What is your gross margin? If you sell something for 400 rupees.
So Happily Unmarried gross margin was about 60-65%. 1/3 was the cost. So we used to do that. Whatever the cost, we used to multiply it by 3. Because there's a lot of design. Like we had a massive design team going. We had about 20 designers working for us. So it was. So वो था. But we realized that this business is not going to sustain. It can't grow. It has too many limitations, especially from an internet perspective. If you want to do an internet business, you should have 10 SKUs. They should be selling in multiple quantities so that, production is easier. So one of the things that both Rahul and me were very confident about was men's grooming, because, that is one area which is not looked by anybody. And we felt that, like, men were growing beards, but there were no products to cater to beards. So we figured that maybe if we do something in this category without realizing that the FMCG is a different business altogether, if we get into FMCG, ये चल सकता है. And that's one.
Lesser SKUs, higher.
And good gross margins. Good gross margins and repeat sales. No, HU mein there's no repeats. I bought an ashtray, then it's with me for life. So that was the thing. So ye kiya. So then we started working on this men's grooming range. So we took.
And at that time, like the Beardo, Bombay Shaving, all of these were
Nobody was there. Nobody was there. No. This was 2015. So 2012, when we raised the first round, October we raised the first round, and then 2015 we were already working on a men's grooming range. And what we did was we took a factory on hire in Bhavana. So it's called loan license to take up existing factory and you start working on it. So we hired a cosmetologist. I said, face wash bana do, or beard oil bana do, whatever little you would understand. So we started making, and then what we did was we would go to.
There was no like market research and all of that.
No, nothing. No market research. It's just that based on our, we said, yeah, so many guys with beards, there has to be something here. So many, and then in the social media. So what we did was we actually spoke to some of our HU customers. We had their numbers because they used to come to our website. They said, look, we want to start this. What do you think? Yeah, great idea. Bahut acha hai, karna chahiye. There's nothing like that. So we started working on this. And then in, I think, August of 2015, we had done, till then we had done about 17, 18 trials of different products. We said, let's launch it. So we saw on the Happily Unmarried website only, we launched USTRAA. Okay. So within 3 months of launching, USTRAA was outselling Happily Unmarried. And we were like shocked. Ye kya ho gaya? USTRAA was outselling Happily Unmarried. So I'll give you an idea that HU on the website would maximum reach out to about 30-35 cities across India. USTRAA, we have till now touched about 1,200 cities and towns across the country. So we realized the scale was so different, and that for once was very good because we used to niche, quirky. Now we were mass, FMCG. So it was a great experience.
One quick question here. When you went online for USTRAA, for Happily Unmarried first, how did you build traffic and,
so a lot of, lot of organic traffic was coming. We never advertised on for Happily Unmarried.
You already had a Facebook following.
And that time, posts would go, whenever the travel, virality was there. So, now Facebook and Insta sort of kill your organic feed. So we had a fairly good channel. We invested a lot on content. At that time we had a team, we were doing lots of content, and then people would come to our website. Like memes, a lot of meme kind of content. In fact, even now, sometimes during, Women's Day or other Independence Day, some of the memes circulating are old HU memes. People are they're still in circulation, which is good to see. So it was a brilliant, but there were limitations to its growth. And then USTRAA became.
How much was the website doing monthly? Like you, as a business, you were doing 17-20 crores. So what contribution was coming from online?
Online would be, I think, not more than 30. No, so what? It was not more than 25%. 25-30%. It is quite a minuscule. So once USTRAA started giving fabulous traction, we went to Sanjeev again and said, Sanjeev, we didn't tell you, but we launched a men's grooming brand, and this has happened to us since then, that it's getting fabulous traction, and we are now reaching this many countries. So he said, guys, I think you have also found your Naukri. So he said, before I started Naukri.com, I was doing 8-10 different things. But when I realized Naukri was getting traction, I shut down everything else. So, howsoever attached you are to Happily Unmarried, shut it down and focus only on Ustra. And we did that. Actually, by that time, we had done 10, 12 years of Happily Unmarried. We had done everything. All the jokes had been cracked about being happily unmarried, unhappily married. So we felt like, yaar, kuch aur karte hain, bada karte hain. So we said, okay, we'll do it. So we started, then the entire focus became Ustra. And the sort of, and it was very interesting that the same team which was running Happily Unmarried suddenly started running a FMCG brand. And there were no big changes in the company. The same spirit, the same DNA. Of course, we had to hire cosmetologists, and that's how it started. And Ustra was selling online. And then we started selling in marketplaces. And then suddenly there was a lot of interest. So on the same year, in 2016, 17, so we got started getting investor interest in Ustra. Apart from
this was the same legal entity, or
no, yeah. HU was the company, and we were the sub brand. And this is also the time when Beardo was launched and Man Company was launched. So all came in 2015. 2015 end. We were in August. Everybody came at the same time. So there was good traction. In fact, and we did a lot of spending on Facebook. So Ustra became a case study. Manish, who had joined us when we got our first round and was heading our e-com, was invited to present to Facebook USA. So he was thrown to Facebook office and he made a presentation of how we build an FMCG brand on Facebook. So good days. And then there was fabulous investor interest. Suddenly, from HU, जिसमें बहुत investor interest नहीं था कभी. Ustra, suddenly we had a line of people asking us about it. And then we got feelers from 3 big FMCG companies. There was Wipro, there was Imami, and there was Marico. So we were talking to all of them, and
this is 2017.
2015, 16.
And how much were you doing sales revenue, like annual?
We were that time doing about a crore and a half a month. I think that is the number we were at.
And you had shut down Happily
because I think that was also the time when demonetization happened. That was so essentially that when demon happened, that 1 year the businesses was on so we were doing a crore before demon, and then we stuck to a crore number. We did not spend money, and so we could have become 2. In fact, I think March 2016 we had done that. We touched the 2 crore a month number, but after demon, the signals we got were just lie low and don't spend too much money. So we were steady at a crore a month. And then Wipro invested in Ustra, and they said, we would like to, and they invested as a financial investor, which is very good for us because we didn't want to get tied to a strategic investor so early in our life of the company. So, value aage badhegi, so let's not, so Ustra, and Wipro seemed like the most ethical and the most clean bunch of guys among all the companies that we had met and spoken to.
Plus, they understood.
No, we had also spoken to some 2-3 other FMCG companies. But Wipro ka thoda sa ek hai, they are very tough negotiators. They hate it when you spend money. But they are not, they are clean guys. They are good professional, and they hold, I think, Mr. Premji in very high regard. So because of his name and his stature, the Wipro, the house is very beautiful. It's very good. So Wipro came in and...
How much did you raise?
That time we raised... How much did we raise? 30 we raised, 30. We raised 30. So it was a big business now. And it came in tranches. It came in tranches. So we raised, and then the money, then Ustra became the core, and then Wipro got these. So 2017, the Wipro came in, and then they got in the discipline of FMCG, MI systems, financial health, financial living. So, and they also started helping us in helping build the offline business. Yeah.
Oh, so far it
was only online. So 2018 onwards, when Wipro came, we started building the offline business. So, and then things started moving well. We kept growing, but there were...
How do you build offline in FMCG? Like, what's the way to do that? Like, is it that you appoint like these stockists?
And so the offline in FMCG is like offline in FMCG. You have to do it the way the big companies have done it. It is very painful. It is a very slow process, and it is also involves building a lot of trust with the community. with the distributors, with the retailers, and we did that. So
Yeah, just take me through the
I
steps.
think
Like,
so.
what's like the
There are
first?
two things that happen in an offline business. One is general trade, which is your kirana shops and your which are all over and there's modern trade, which is your big bazaars and the more or whatever D-marts. So it is Reliance. It is easier to get into modern trade because you have to just pay money, get your product registered, and they do the distribution. They put all your products everywhere. But it is more expensive.
You have to pay money for what? Like, aren't
No,
you?
so you have to.
I mean, you're
So like
selling.
typically what a modern trade outlet does is suppose they want to they have to also find ways to make money, right? So they'll say, okay, you have 20 SKUs. To register each SKU, I will take say 5,000 rupees. So that's about a lakh rupee, right? Right? And if they have 10 outlets, that becomes 10 lakh rupees. Then they'll say, okay, I'm putting your product, but if you want a dedicated space, which is called the end cap, like the end of the shelf, I will charge you money for that. So that is their way of making money. So, but I'm still saying it's
in-store
branding,
branding
and they insist on that because that's how they make money. Like if they put up a FSU, they'll say, "Iska mujhe 20,000 rupees mahina de dena." So that's how they.
What is FSU?
Floor standing unit. So when you like typically Gillette will have these things with their branding. So that is the model that they use. The other is the general store where you put your salesman who goes to every shop and says, "मेरा माल रख लो, अच्छा प्रोडक्ट है, ऐसा है, अगर मतलब फिर दुकानदार बोलता है मैं पैसे नहीं दूंगा, but you have to convince him to भाई पैसे दे देना मेरे को, मतलब pay advance type." And this is from distributors. So you have to first convince the distributor to invest in you. Then you have to have a sale.
And distributor is like one person.
No, multiple. Like so like in Delhi will probably have like Delhi, I think we'll have about
one for South Delhi.
Yeah. And like in West Delhi, we have 3. So as the business expands, you increase the number of distributors. A company like Levers will probably have 30 or 40 distributors only for South Delhi, maybe more. I don't know. So it's like that. And distributor's job is to basically make sure he finances the business, right? He has to see a ROI. So now,
so he pays you upfront when you give it. He gives working capital.
Yeah. So I tell you, so the difficult part was that we wanted to do. We want to modern trade, we do general trade because it's less money. We'll work with distributors only on advance payments, which is a big challenge. Yeah. And I'm telling you right now that out of all the FMCG new age companies working in India, nobody does this. Nobody has been able to work on advance. Only USTRAA does. And we have built a reputation that, products are good. We'll work on good terms. We'll be fair to you. You'll be fair to us. So that the initial convincing of distributors, initially, यार तो हो गया, तुम्हारा तो कोई ब्रांड भी नहीं है, तुम्हारा तो कोई वो भी नहीं है, तुम्हारा टीवी पे ऐड भी नहीं आता, तुम्हारा तो कोई you don't even have a brand ambassador, so क्यों करूँगा मैं? But anyway, it happens. Finally, वो हुआ. We were able to convince.
Well, just through sheer persistence, like you keep going,
and you have to be. Yeah, essentially they also say, and then you have to say that ठीक है यार रखो, अगर problem होगी तो हम लोग हैं ना, we'll take care of it. So the distributor's job was to buy. Our job of our sales guys was to make sure the products reaches the outlets, and then you have to pray and make sure that it sells. तो वो सब किया. Then it started gradually from around Delhi, then north, then went to south, then Bombay. Now we are selling about 15,000 outlets pan India. We have.
And what is the product?
Product range is everything from face washes to shampoos to hair oil to beard oils, everything. So USTRAA now has about 85 SKUs. But out of this, our top 10 SKUs are giving us 80% of the business. So we build that. So with classic FMCG की यार तुम्हारे ये तो वो बेच रहा है, website में चल रहा है, marketplace में बेच रहे हैं. So now it's a pan India business. We're also exporting USTRAA to Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, UAE. So small, but yeah, it's become it's a fully growing business. We have almost 200 people on our rolls right now. So yeah, it's a lot of.
Out of these 200, how many do sales? Like what's the
split? Sales is the biggest chunk, but as a company, we believe that everybody does sales. So, we all believe that our job is to sell. So I think sale would be about 120 people are in sales, 120 to 130.
And you have like a typical FMCG structure with NSM,
Yeah.
RSM, ASM.
So we have actually two divisions now. We have a online division. Online still is a bigger business. Online is about, I would say 65% of the business is online, 65-70%. 30% is offline. So there's an entire online team, including developers, digital marketing, UI, UX, and then you have these customer care people, and then you have the entire offline structure, like you have, national sales directors, then you have RSMs and ASMs and sales executive, and you go down to that. So वो build करना पड़ता है. You have to build that, otherwise होता नहीं है FMCG.
Okay. And what is your like this year? How much will you do?
Or we'll cross. We will cross 100. So it's a big year for us. It's been a long journey, but yeah, I think this year.
What
we'll
was
cross
it
100.
last year? How much did you? How much did you grow? Like COVID?
Yeah. So we were about we did about 60 the year before COVID happened. Then COVID was a bad year, so we digressed. Last year was 65, and this year we're going to cross 100. So,
what is driving this growth? Like 65 to 100 is a pretty big jump. What's driving it? Is it
I wish. I hope our investors are listening to this. No. Yeah. So essentially, one is that the business is growing. We still feel that if you look at the size of the opportunity, it's massive. So because now we ask ourselves, can we be a 500 crore company or a 1,000 crore company? And we feel yes, in another 5 years, maybe yes, that is a possibility. So the growth is being driven by increased businesses online, while the online is growing, and also we've now started expanding offline. So like I said, we are in 15,000 stores right now. The idea is to be in another 40 by the end of 2023. So that sort of will build up momentum. And like FMCG, I'm hoping that more guys will buy it and use it more often, so that there are more repeat sales. Which basically is the holy grail in FMCG. If there are no repeat sales, then if you have to advertise all the time to get customers, then it's not a money making business. Only when the repeats start happening regularly, then it becomes a money making.
What is the way in which you have spent for growth? Like, one is to you spend on, let's say, TV ad to grow, or you can spend building your sales team to grow, or you can spend on performance marketing to grow. So what has been your strategy?
So we are doing a bit of both. While there's always the need to feed on the street. For instance, offline, we have what is called promoters or, grooming advisors. These guys are at premium shops and they help the customers. So at the last count, we had about 450 grooming advisors. Those guys are on our payrolls, and their job really is to tell the customer about the product. So we have that as a big asset on the ground.
Basically, there's like activation or sampling.
No, they're full-time employed. Sampling we do separately. Sampling, we have another team which goes and puts up stalls at offices, at events, because we want more people to see our products. So this is a regular. I think all the big stores, what they do is, that's their business. You want them more than they want you. So they'll say, अपना माल रख के जाओ. अगर बिकेगा तो मैं पैसे दूंगा, नहीं तो उठा के लेके जाओ. और इसमें रखने के लिए मुझे डिस्प्ले दो. तो वो सब थोड़ा सा. So we have to. The choice of stores is a very important consideration. We look at stores. We look at the kind of people who are managing it. Most of these are now what is called standalone modern trade. So they are modern in the sense there is an aisle and you can go and pick up your products, but it's not run by a corporate. So here we have this. Demand. So here we have promoters who will talk to you and tell you about the product. So that's what we do in offline. Online we do performance marketing also, and we do a lot of brand building kind of ads on Facebook and Instagram. Then we do both the things.
Have you still kept away from modern trade? Because I think you said modern trade,
a bit.
Margins are lower.
But we're doing some. We've done some regional modern trade. So we're doing, there's a chain called Lulu in Cochin, which is now expanding to Bangalore, Trivandrum. They're also very big in the Middle East. But in India, they've just opened a store in Lucknow and doing very well. So we are going with them. We also now in talks with Reliance, and we should be there soon. So now what's happened now is that the brand has become acceptable. So these guys also realize that, thoda sa demand hai. So we are hopeful that soon They'll give better terms and it'll be not so bad. So it's actually really improved. Honestly, it is good to wait because now the terms are, if they're not favorable, they're entirely not against us. But I still believe that if you have to grow offline, then it's not the one trade. It's this general trade or the kirana walas who will build a business because they are massive in number. You can't outgrow. I mean, you can't ignore them forever. But it's again very difficult to get into. Like I said, most of the other guys tried and couldn't do it. We stuck, so we've been able to make a small presence. But the best is yet to come.
Okay, so you are putting maximum amount of your capital on expanding offline. Like that's where your spend goes.
So there is some in, and also a considerable portion of our marketing spends are on advertising online. They still are. But what that does is it also helps our offline. So we discovered, when you run ads on say Facebook or Instagram, it also reaches out to the offline customers. So it does both. But yeah, our choice of advertising, if you ask, the biggest money goes to digital marketing. That's our biggest spend.
What is the difference in economics of each of these channels, like modern trade, general trade, online? Like which one is more, gives you better gross margin? And
the best
because in online you would have
are from our own website, of course, because it's direct and there's no middleman. So I think
there you would spend on customer acquisition costs.
You spend on customer acquisition. So, but when the repeats start kicking in and stuff, but I still think So having said that, your website is your biggest. Even now for online as a single medium, our website is the biggest source. So it not only does it give you valuable data information, it also tells you about what the customer is preferring and interest. So yeah, so I think the website, but then the marketplaces and then offline.
Okay.
Yeah, because
then why you focus so much on offline if the gross margin is lowest?
It still is, the contribution margin is still decent. One is second is that, see, all the capital side, while online is growing very big, it's still a very small part of your overall trade in
so
India.
There's a ceiling there. The online can only grow.
It's growing faster. Like they think in the next 5 years, 10 years, offline will grow. But even now, I don't think more than 4 or 5% of India's trade is online. Right? Bulk of it is offline. There are 15 lakh or 15 lakh shops which can sell FMCG products. I don't know what the universe of the number of stores in India is, but it's huge. So to reach, like even a country like America, which has got such a high internet penetration, even there, the online business is not more than 9-10%. But what's happening is that the tech is also getting integrated into offline, which is very good. So like we use apps for our sales team to track their daily beats. Our promoters or grooming advisors also have an app to let us know what is being sold every day. So you get to monitor on real-time basis what is selling. Then all the order placement right now is through apps again. So a lot of interesting works happened in this. A lot of development work is happening. And then there is actual startups who are trying to disrupt the distribution business. So they're saying we'll become virtual distributors of your products.
How much of your offline revenue comes through these new age distributors? Like
none. We spoke to them, but figured that so one of the things that we found, they don't give you the information about the shops where they're selling. So initially, it's I think it's more suitable for when you're a very massive brand where if somebody is taking away 2-3% of your sale through this channel, it doesn't affect you. Or if you have no distribution, so you just have to give the product and you don't care where it's selling. For us, we need to know where the product is sold, how the display, whether the signage and there's POS, because that is all part of our retail program, if I say. So that is important for us to track.
Okay. So compared to traditional FMCG sales, you are able to have a lot more visibility than a traditional FMCG because of your app through which you get real time.
I think compared to our traditional FMCG, we are also faster in reaction, and of course we are. It's a newer category, so the guys are also willing to. So because of our app, we get what you get is the refurbishment is faster. The the
Refurbishment means like refilling once the
refilling,
stock goes.
refilling. So, but it's amazing. I was reading about how HUL now is setting up nano factories. They are massive factories. Now they're selling up small factories to actually compete with companies like us, where they will be able to produce smaller quantities, innovate faster, get products in faster. So it's quite interesting. They're trying to get into direct to customer. We are trying to get into B2B, their kind of line of business. So it's all happening, as I say.
How many SKUs do you have now?
We have 85 SKUs. And then there are multiple packages, bundling and stuff.
What are some of the lessons that you can share with founders who are building in the FMCG space? Like, what are some things which you've learned from experience? That
so one is that don't do men's grooming. Don't do men's grooming because we are doing it and we did a good job of it. So no, it's an interesting category. I would say that unfortunately it does take a lot more money because in this business, the biggest chunk is not the product development; it's distribution and marketing. So you spend a lot more money in telling people about your product. So it requires some bit of financial muscle. So yeah, and the important thing is also to this is true for every business. If you're trying to raise funds, just be very sure who you are getting the money from. Don't try to delay it as much as you can. Because those guys come with different objectives. Some of them need to exit it quickly, so they have a different constraint altogether. So yeah,
but you have very patient investors, right? Like
No, influence actually is because they have been entrepreneurs themselves and they've seen the journey, so they're very, very patient and they're very I would say aligned to what the promoters feel. But having said that, they're also pushing and they want they're not saying jo bhi karna hai karo. They won't look at numbers. They look at
everyone wants to see growth.
They want to see growth, but they're sensible about it. They're not crazy. Don't give us top line at all costs. Even Wipro is not like that. So Wipro is invested in us, not Premji investor. Wipro consumer, the FMCG part of the business. So they again are they have their own funds. So I think that makes a big difference. The other investor is IIFL. Which is the sort of a private equity, but they all so IIFL is fairly new. It's just been 2 years. So, but they're all aligned to how we see the business, and they're I think they're okay with the growth. Of course, it could have been more. Advertising could have been less. The reach could have been higher, but that is how it is.
Like, what do you think? What do you regret? Like you said that it could have been more. What could you have done differently?
I think what happened was that during the lockdown, we stopped advertising completely, and we realized that was a mistake because some of the companies that kept advertising that time, when the thing got over, they were really on top. Like I know people are saying that this is a very funding winter, things are very bad, it's very bleak, but the end of it, the companies that emerge will be much stronger and bigger. So
I think a lot of your online competitors like Bombay Shaving and all, they really took advantage.
Actually, Mamaearth did really, they really grew during that COVID time. But I think it's a factor of multiple things and also of how much fuel you have at the time. So that is, I guess, there are not too many, a lot of learnings, a lot of, but the other thing is that one of the things that I always feel that this will happen much faster than it actually does in real life. So I guess, one thing that one learns has to learn to be patient. Things take time sometimes. Yeah.
Like perseverance, basically.
Yeah, perseverance. Yeah, and then whatever timeline you set yourself, you should multiply it by 2. Everything takes time. And then there are things like this. There's COVID, and then there is demonetization, and there's stuff like that, which is not in your hands really. So. And like the funding winter right now, so then you don't know what one has to do.
What is the exit for your investors? IPO or acquisition?
I think it'll probably be because for an IPO, I think the company will have to be at least do much bigger. So there are 2-3 ways. One is that we merge with another company, and that company itself does an IPO. Secondly, somebody acquires us. Thirdly, is somebody puts a lot of money in us and we acquire a clutch of companies. and then we go and do an IPO. So these are the options right now. And like Ravi Shastri says, all three options are open right now. The important thing is whoever you tie with one is that they need to have the same vision for the brand that you have. And it can't be a short-term thing. So we are actually, what I would only want is that USTRAA should stay in perpetuity. Even if we are not there, the brand should stay for as long. That's how, big, good FMCG brands have stayed for long, decades. So at least that. So somebody who's aligned to that vision, I think, would be ideal. It doesn't matter who, when, how.
There are all these like Thrasio model e-commerce startups. Have any of them approached you?
Yeah, they did.
Like this?
All of them did.
Okay.
But
you were not
they also.
interested in
We speak to everybody. Yeah, paise chahiye hota hai. But the thing is that these models are not fully evolved yet. So they are also experimenting. They're also trying to figure out the ground. And so how will happen? It's again a long-term play. It's not even none of the Thrasio guys will also be able to do something in the next 2 years. So they will also have to sort of sort out and figure out stuff. But it's an interesting take. But because it's worked somewhere else doesn't mean it will work in India. And secondly, because it will also have a lot of tweaking, even if you get it from what. But I would say it's an interesting thing because the only way, if you look at all these companies, even P&G is a cluster of multiple brands. Unilever has acquired multiple brands. That's how FMCG is. So it's not a unique model. It's unique in the sense that it's only because it's online first, and that's the uniqueness of it. But otherwise, it's a sensible thing to do. You have money, you acquire multiple brands which are complementing each other, and then you have a bouquet of a company which you can take.
Customer data.
And then again, you see some costs get shared, warehousing costs get shared, sales costs get shared. Now tomorrow, if we had 2 more brands and the same sales team, our guys would be 3 times more productive. So that's what brings the cost down in FMCG. So there has been a lot of shared costs.
Like Marico's acquired Beardo, which I mean, would you really be able to go up against Beardo, considering that they have all these advantages which you're talking about? Like the Marico sales team is selling Beardo.
Yeah, but they're not able to sell it that well. I wonder what's wrong with it. No, honestly. So Beardo is about 95 odd crores last year. I don't know what they look this year. And if you have that kind of number with the Marico support system, then I would say there's something is not working. I don't know what's in it. But like if we were on a similar network like that, we would probably be 3 times, 4 times of what we are right now. So I've discovered that this one doesn't have to worry about DC, because when we started and when we were online, Brilfim launched its beard grooming products and they launched a beard oil. And then everybody's saying, what are you going to do? They're going to outspend you. They had Siddharth Malhotra and Varun Dhawan both as brand ambassadors. I think
ads and all.
They ran the ads and we discovered those 2 months when they were doing the campaign, our sales were increasing. So they
were promoting the category.
So देखते हैं क्या होगा. Picture भी बाकी है. We are in it for the long haul, so we're going to yeah, we're going to be there. We're not going anywhere.
Amazing. And you plan to do TV ads and all?
Yeah, we will. Yeah, of
Hollywood.
Course. Yeah, we'll do TV also. We come to a position like 10,000 outlets, 15,000 outlets हो जाएंगी. We are in all marketplaces, so it's a good time to do TV.